on about the design on the new tribal administration building. As some of you maybe did not know, this old building that we're in right now was built back in the 60s, and it was constructed with a construction system, originally EFIS it was called, that is now no longer accepted as legal construction because the erosion of the bottom of the exterior surface. The building is covered with a 1.5 inch styrofoam block with a piece of fiberglass mesh over it, and then about 1/8 of an inch of plasticized concrete troweled onto that mesh. And over the years, the bottom of that styrofoam has eroded away because it did not, in its original specifications, call for a metal cover or anything that would protect that. And the water has, in running down the wall, has rolled under and eroded the bottom metal plate of all of the walls in the building. And so some of our walls you can lean against and actually have them move. So we have had a lot of difficulties with our roof and with the mechanical. The building was built in 4 different stages. Since we bought it, we've added on to it quite a number of times. We'll be keeping the newest portion, that is the Child Development Center. That will stay up, but we'll tear down the rest of the building, and it'll be made into a common space or recreational space that would be used for some purpose. The new tribal administration building will be constructed on the property that's north of where the Community Development Corporation is now housed, in the building that once was the branch bank of First National Bank. And then we converted that over to the Community Development Corporation and the CDC, it's called, and the CDFI. The Treasury Department calls these organizations, an organization that we have and those like it, and we have the largest tribally owned one in the country. It's called a Community Development Financial Institution, and it's been a wonderful program for us because every dollar that we put into lending capital, the federal government has matched. So we've had some phenomenal growth in that. We have about $75 million in lending capital in the Community Development Corporation, and it can loan money to any tribal member anywhere in the country. And we have a lot of loans out to tribal members around in different districts. So it's been a great tool in cooperating with First National Bank, in that the Community Development Corporation can take a higher risk piece of a loan and give the bank a stronger collateral position, give them 100% of the collateral and 80% of the loan, and the Community Development Corporation take a second mortgage and take 20% of the loan. So that has accounted for a great deal of our loan growth at First National. We will be changing the name of First National Bank. As you know, we bought the MidFirst Bank chain, and the size of our bank now has grown up to $735 million, which it surprises me every time I say it, since we started with a double wide trailer on a gravel parking lot out on MacArthur Street, and the very first day that we owned the bank, we had to take a $2 million write down on the loan portfolio. So we started as a $14 million bank, and we have grown that to 735. We have the ability, with deposits that we have in other banks around the country and around the state, where we have chosen to put deposits and not into our bank, because every time you put dollars into the lending base, you have to add dollars to the capital. Approximately 10% of every dollar that you put in for lending purposes, in your asset base, you end up having to put it in capital. And we didn't want to tie up that much money in capital. So because we have these large projects coming up, construction projects. But I would predict that by year after next at this time, or maybe even sooner, our bank will grow past $1 billion in assets. So we're extremely proud of the job that Brian Kane is doing. Once we got the new president of the bank, almost immediately he doubled the size of the bank. And he's very competent, and we have a great board of directors. It's made up almost entirely of Citizen Potawatomi Nation bankers who have bank ownership and bank experience in their own right. The Anderson family and the Grimmett family. Oh, there's Vice Chairman Capps.
Yeah, hello.
Hi. So the bank is growing quite well. We are going to be building a new branch bank building out on the Northwest Highway in Northwest Oklahoma City to take the place of the current facility that we're leasing. That lease facility is very, very expensive, and we've determined that we can build a new building for our bank in Oklahoma City and pay for it very quickly, given the rate that we're paying for lease. There are 4 other First National banks in Oklahoma City, and we're getting a good deal of regulatory pressure to change the name of our bank. And so the name that we have chosen and we'll be bringing to the legislature's consideration is Sovereign Bank, because we are a sovereign and sovereign Indian tribe. We believe that reflects our roots, and it is one of those names that we feel reflects the strength of our lending institution. So we're excited about the name change, but we haven't done it yet because of the substantial investment involved in changing signage and all of our checks, all of our literature, of everything that that has First National's name on it. But as long as we're going to concentrate the great deal of our business in the Oklahoma City Edmond market, from a regulatory standpoint, we're going to have to change. The state of Oklahoma has a unique system of banking. The bank regulatory bodies in the state of Oklahoma are created under the state constitution rather than under statutes. And the legislature and the governor do not have the ability to manipulate the state banking regulatory board for political purposes, because the tenure of the commissioners, one of them is on our board. The commissioners, they can't regulate them at will for political purposes. And the state of Oklahoma has passed a new law that allows state chartered banks that have a combined charter, where you're with the Federal Reserve and you're also have a state charter, allows them to lend up to 30% of your capital. And right now we're limited under our federal charter to 15% of our capital. So it would be a great advantage for us to utilize the monies that we have in retained profits and in contributed capital. It would give us a good deal more flexibility and more borrowing capacity for the bank itself. So we are negotiating right now for a combined charter of having the Federal Reserve still be our guaranteed body and our deposit guarantee body, and have another charter under the state law and the State Banking Commission. The Grimmett family, who sits on our board, they're a state bank, and the Anderson family that have Farmers and Merchants Bank that sit on our board, they're a state chartered bank. Most of the larger bank chains in Oklahoma are state chartered banks. So we're going to change to a combination charter in order to get better use of the money that's in the tribe. it's quite easy for us to do that. And the state charter folks at the Oklahoma Banking Commission have been pursuing us for quite a number of years because our bank has very strong capital. And we're not supposed to say what the number is, but we have the highest ranking in safety and soundness that a bank can have. So the state has been after us for some time. The largest other tribally owned bank is owned by the Chickasaws, and they have amended their charter just recently from Second National to Chickasaw Community Bank, and have taken out a state charter with their bank, their group of banks as well. So we think that's a wise course of action, and we will be making that change. And we have having some terrific growth at the bank. Interest rates are coming up, but we're still in a very, very low interest rate era right now. It's a great time for people to borrow and develop property and do those things that they need to do. And I encourage all of our tribal members in these two districts that we're speaking to today. If you have borrowing needs, we really encourage you to contact First National Bank or contact the Community Development Corporation through Bob Carruthers and see if we can't accommodate you. We'd love to have your business. I mean, that's why we got into banking business to start off with, that and the ability to make our earnings earn for us before they leave our economy. Our original goal at this tribe of every dollar that we pay out in vendor purchases and payroll, but we are, of course, the largest employer in Pottawatomie County with well over 2,000 employees. We want those dollars to stay in our economy and turn before they leave it. So we want to get people's grocery business and their gasoline business and their entertainment dollars, and our concrete company and our electrical company and our gravel operation. We want, and all of the other businesses that we operate. We're trying to keep those dollars in our economy to turn before they leave in order to strengthen the tribal economy. And that has been one of the key elements in our growth and our progress. The plastic pipe plant, we're building a plastic pipe manufacturing company. It's not PVC, it's the we have the ultra high strength poly pipe like you use for natural gas and water mains and cable conduit and those kinds of things. The plant will have, the building is already finished, and we are in the process of purchasing and installing the equipment that extrudes the pipe. We'll have the capacity to make somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 million pounds of pipe per year. And we just received a commitment from our major customer that we were depending on when we first started on this project. We just received a commitment to buy over 50% of our production before we ever get the plant up and running. And we have hired the manager. He's has many years of experience in running a pipe plant in Canada, just like the one we built, or not quite as new. So we're very excited about the pipe plant, and that will be providing jobs. And that is the same kind of pipe that we use for Rural Water District number 3 that now provides water to 2/3 of Pottawatomie County, drinking water to 2/3 of Pottawatomie County. And we have been invited to provide potable water to Lincoln County, the county to the north of us, and its county seat at Meeker and Shannon. Well, it's not its county seat, its closest larger community in Meeker. So we're excited about the expansion and growth of the Rural Water District, and we see that as a long-term investment in infrastructure. Our war with this, our disagreement over decades-long disagreement with the city of Shawnee, has ended amicably with actually a written agreement, kind of like a peace treaty. And the city of Shawnee has de-annexed the property around us. In fact, everything south of the North Canadian River that was the area where we operate. They have de-annexed that from the city, and we have cooperatively agreed that the tribe will take over the water distribution and sewer services for that area and provide additional business for the tribal utilities. So that's the pipe plant and the basketball team, and we have met with architects and design build construction companies about the new tribal headquarters, which we talked about with this replacing this old building that we have that's that we're worried about. We're worried about falling down around our ears, aren't we, Vice Chairman Capps? But the building was an excellent investment, and it has held up quite well for a very long time. It's just that it was an old building when we moved into it, and even though we improved it substantially, all things have a life, and metal stud buildings where the water gets to the bottom of the metal studs, it's time to replace it. We will be building a new clinic facility in Choctaw, Oklahoma, and a new child development center in Choctaw, Oklahoma, on the land that we purchased on the Indian Meridian, the line where the land run was made into our area. And we will be developing that property for housing for our people, and some housing for the general public. We have 80 acres over there, ideally suited on 23rd Street, which is the street that runs in front of the state capitol, and as it extends east, it goes over to city of Choctaw, where it crosses over into the reservation line. So we will be developing that property in conjunction with a group of builders, and we'll take a profit on the land as well as on the buildings on some of it, and then we'll be doing Hearth Act leasehold mortgage construction on some of it. So we have a lot of activity, a lot of things going on. We've gotten through, I think, the worst of our COVID 19 problems. Of course, we lost quite a large number of employees because of the illness and because of requirements that we have that our people in certain jobs, all our jobs, have to be vaccinated. So we're having good luck in that as a self-insured entity, that we're having good luck in that we're not having people, and a lot of people on respirators and extremely ill. We have had some unfortunate passings of people that were employees or former employees that did not make it through this, and we will be celebrating their lives at this year's Family Heritage Festival. The Family Heritage Festival this year will be a different format in that we won't resume the tradition of the honored families that we've had for so many years. We'll start that up again next year anew, but this coming year, because it's been 2 years since we had a festival, this coming year we're going to celebrate the lives of the people that we lost in the tribe, and the sort of a celebration of being well and able to meet together without danger to each other. So it's going to be a unique celebration this year, and we look forward to having everybody come. And then we'll start with our regular rotation of honoring 8 of our families each festival. We'll start that up again next year. So that's too many. That's a lot longer than you thought. I'm sorry, you lost you're muted, Bob.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. We appreciate the update in all the various areas. I know that we're in this to dag on many different things. It's hard to just stay and pinpoint on just one or two when we've got a lot of things going on. And I appreciate you bringing all of this information to us and the plan for Family Festival this year. Thank you again.
You're welcome.
Mrs. Katz, welcome.
Good morning. I thought that I would share a little bit about CPN Care. I know that we now have just under 500 people nationwide that have signed up with CPN Care. And they are real proud. The company is real proud of those numbers because they think we've done very well. We're just getting down. We had a meeting yesterday by Zoom. We're just now getting down to how we will bill and those things, how they are going to build the nation. So we're just getting details refined. But they think that 500 is very good. And we look forward to signing up more and more as we go each month. I think that eventually we will sign up about, I don't know, maybe 10,000 households. And so that would be very good. Now, keep in mind that you can sign up your family. Just one Potawatomi has to sign up. But those that are 18 years of age and older need to sign up for themselves. And so,
Linda,
yes.
you had a question flash up that what is CPN Care? There are some folks out there that don't know what it is.
CPN Care is our new telemedicine program, and we are set up with the portal at the nation. We have had the information in the HoundyCon for several months on and off, and hopefully your legislator will also be getting information out to you about that. I don't know how many of the legislators, Bob and Jean, I don't know how many people you have on email. I don't know how many people you get to correspond with. But
I've sent out a couple of emails on it, Mrs. Katz, but apparently I think we need to send an email out again. With only 500 families, I would have hoped we would be a little further along than this. But
Bob, your district is leading. So you have done very well. Outside of that, something that has surprised me is we've had a lot of Oklahoma families sign up. So I wasn't really anticipating that. That's fine, but it did surprise me. I was thinking that more of the people in the districts would sign up, but it's good that the Oklahoma families have signed up. But outside of Oklahoma, Robert, your district is leading everyone. So I know that you've got the portal out really soon, and I think that's why you're probably leading. You. And by the way, I got a couple of really good notes from your district too. So it's just an ongoing process. We will be signing up this year and next year. And so if you haven't gotten in on it, well, you're going to have a lot of opportunities too, because each month there'll be something in the HoundyCon about the program.
And
yes,
yes, we have gotten it out. It's difficult, as you know, it's even with the COVID and the monies and such, that have gone out for people to understand that this is for the entire family, not just the tribal member. And so there seems to be some confusion on that. But this is the actual wave of medicine to begin with. So we are, and, thank you to you for bringing that about and to, making it happen, because it is the new wave of medicine, period, is by, teleconference. People aren't wanting to get sick people in their offices anymore because they don't know what you have, it's kind of, so it's great to have that. And thank you for the efforts that you put in there to make that happen.
It's been a labor of love because we worked on it for about 4 or 5 months, but it's happening and it's going to happen. So those families that haven't signed up yet, they will eventually. And I will continue to work with the legislators to get information out. But
Thank
I
you.
am very proud of it's actually not 500, it's just less than 500, but I'm very proud of that. So I think we're doing fine. And the company thinks we're doing fine. So we'll just continue to work on it. I wanted to say a little bit about, give you some numbers of what the chairman was talking about. We have had 50 deaths due to COVID from across the country that have been reported. Now, Charles Clark, he's the one that gets that information because he's the one that handles the death benefit. But we have 50 families or 50 tribal members reported having died from COVID for the last 2 years. So I don't know, Rocky, if you knew those numbers or not, but I just got that from Chuck Clark. So quite a few families, when we celebrate their lives at the festival this year, well, that's quite a few families, 50. Also, I wanted to give you the COVID numbers because COVID really hit us very hard. It has impacted our workforce here. We've had at one time, week before last, we had 161 cases of COVID, and we had 210 quarantines. So when you have 210 quarantines in your workforce, that pretty much shuts areas down. And so we've had to close the daycare a couple of times, and we're going to start fresh on Monday because I anticipate that our numbers are going to be down and that people are going to be back to work full force. And that is my hope. And I know that's Dr. Vasilero's hope. He really wanted that for the end of January, but it didn't materialize. So we're hoping this first week in February that the end of that first week that we're going to see better numbers. And that's what we're anticipating. The chairman says that we've been very busy. The executive team plus an attorney plus the CFO of the company and of the tribe and the construction director, we meet every Wednesday at 10 o'clock. And so we are trying to plan what we are going to do with the ARPA funds that we have received. And we have until 2024 to commit those funds. And then we have until 2026 to get those funds completely out the door. So there's a lot of planning. When you're planning construction and you have to go out for bid, then that's a lot of planning. So we have several projects that we want to get completed. And so that's a lot to do with choosing the contractors and then having it all go out for bid. It is going to be quite the process. But we have faith that we can get that done, and we have been working toward that. Also, the chairman mentioned the ball team, but some of us are really excited about the ball team. If you are a basketball fan, then you are excited. My whole family has been basketball fans all their lives, and so we are excited about this. It's just kind of an ownership. And I think even those people that are not necessarily basketball fans, they have kind of taken into this. We have our own mascot now, and it is really something that we can do this and have our own team. We are going to involve high school and elementary kids throughout the whole theme of this. Every time we have a home game, we're going to have something for the kids. We're going to have cheerleaders. We're going to have band players. We're going to have pom-pom girls. We're going to have all kinds of activities at half times and at quart times. At the end of the first quarter and the third quarter, we will have events by children. So it's going to be real popular in the community. And what I've been so impressed about is we've been getting so many different organizations that want to actually have ads with us. And I've really been surprised. I talked with David on Friday, and we have more ads than I would ever dream that we would have from different banks, from different insurance agencies, from really everyone around. They're wanting to put an ad in on our ball team, for our ball team. So that's exciting too. So I think it's going to be something that we can all really enjoy. And it's going to be streamed, Bob. I don't know if people realize that or not. We are going to be streaming these games so everybody can listen in and watch. Everybody can watch and listen in. So it's going to be exciting. Other than that, we're busy all the time. We did have a lot of snow this past week, and that's always disruptive to us. We actually had to close on Friday. You know, the tribe doesn't really do that. The tribe doesn't like to close our programs. Sometimes we have to close, the daycares. Sometimes we might have to do that. And we had to close the clinics on Thursday, but we don't like to shut down our operations. We come to work if we can, and that is the policy. You come to work. If you can't make it, then you call in and you have to take annual leave. But whenever we have to close, then we give administrative leave, which is good. So lots of things going on, and we're constantly busy and constantly working with scholarships. I work with the vocational scholarships a lot with Candy McCracken, and she and I work with those and figure out who's going to get a vocational scholarship. Many times we have students who have been getting the academic scholarships, and all of a sudden they want to change now. They want to quit going to college and they would like to change to vocational. And that's okay, as long as it's within our guidelines, we can do that. But we don't like for people to just jump around and go to every different thing just to sample. We can't afford to do that because we give out so many scholarships. So our people, if they have changed from academic to vocational, they have to prove to us that they're serious about that. They are serious to get that vocation degree, that training, so they can do whatever they have in mind. But we don't like for them to jump around on vocations either. So other than that, are there any questions of me, Bob, or how are you going to get questions? How are you going to ask the questions?
The questions were coming up on chat. Jennifer, I believe, is monitoring those.
Yes.
And I've been looking at chat. I haven't seen any questions directed that I recall directed towards your comments, looking for some answers. If anybody has anything, now would be an ample opportunity to go ahead and go on to chat, and Mrs. Capps will, be able to answer them. So do we have anything here?
My screen is showing that there are 31 people hooked up to chat, and we had about 6 questions come through over Jennifer's square on the screen here just while Linda was talking.
Okay. Jennifer, can you bring those forward for us?
So in the chat, some people were asking, just making comments saying thank you for CPN Care. It's really helpful. They asked for the link for streaming the basketball games, so I dropped that in. A couple of them have asked for information on the family festival. Here's one. They're wanting to know on the Honored Families what the new schedule will be.
On the Honored Families, the new schedule. Jennifer, we are going to print that new schedule from this summer on. We're going to have that in the HowneyCon and print that schedule. Isn't that right, Mr. Barrett? Didn't we decide to do that?
That's right, Ms. Capps. We will be printing the schedule. Well, like I said earlier, this year we're going to honor those that that we lost during to COVID, and to help with the memories of the folks that have walked on. And then we'll resume the order of honored families in the festival after that. In other words, not this June, but the June after this one is when we'll resume the honored families. And they'll be, that list will be published in the Hownicon. Probably we'll go ahead and publish 5 years out or so that everyone will have time to make plans.
I think, I'm sorry to interrupt. My interpretation of that question could be this, and I'm going to offer it because it may not be what it is, but I still would like the answer myself. When it comes to grand entry and so forth, when we're honoring each of the families, how is that? Is that going to be handled again during grand entry, Chairman, where someone will lead in the families? Will we be leading in one at a time, three at a time? How is that going to be handled? And the banners that we normally have up for the honored families, how will we handle the hanging of the banners?
That's still to be decided, but I had contemplated that those families that are past the traditional mourning period, that have lost someone to COVID, that are past their mourning period where they can dance, the 1 year period, those people's will probably be, there'll be notice of those families that have gone past the 1 year mourning period and are able to enter the ring and dance. Those people that are in the mourning period will also recognize them as well. But I think that rather than naming the honored families, we're going to be naming those families who have lost someone to COVID.
Thank you.
Chairman, I have someone who's been asking how can they be sure that their family member is recognized or on the list of recognition for that time frame.
We'd be grateful for the help of that family member to send Jennifer the name, and we'd love to have, if there's a published epitaph, a published obituary in local newspaper, we'd love to have that obituary, that kind of information to celebrate that person's life. We would like to have that information flow into Jennifer, and then we can develop the order in which we'll enter the ring and the whole concept of what the traditional method is of honoring someone who's walked on past the traditional 1 year of mourning.
Thank you.
The reason that we're doing this is because that mourning period, with so many of our members having walked on, that mourning period is going to be is going to have a lot of impact on what we can do if we hold to tradition. And Justin, if you'd like to comment on the things that normally go with the Potawatomi tribal mourning tradition, if you'd like to comment on that in the Hownicon, that'd be a good thing for people to read, or if you want to talk about that now. But we thought that was something that would have a lot of impact on, and people would be, if they were one of the honored families, but they were in mourning, that would put them in sort of a dilemma unless we tailored the festival to accommodate that. And there are exceptions to that mourning tradition. I mean, you can work around in the festival a way to honor that person and stay within the traditional ways that we do it.
Can you comment to that, Justin?
Yeah, like the chairman was saying, a lot of times when someone's passed on, usually a person will give up something for a year, often dancing. Some people will also cut their hair sometimes when in mourning. But that year period is pretty common of just kind of putting something away and kind of stopping doing something for that year. There's other things I could talk about, but I don't want to go on and on. But I'll definitely address that in the next HoundieCon. I'll say some more stuff about it. But you know.
Thank you so much. We're really honored to have you there as a voice when we have questions regarding language and legends and assistance on namings. And like I say, we're very fortunate to have you, Justin. I'm happy that you're there and really pleased you could join us this morning. Thank you.
Big watch.
Very good, Linda. Rocky, Chairman, Vice Chair. Please.
I see that there's another question there that we probably need to address, and that was how do they reserve spots and camping spots? You know, they're supposed to call Chuck Clark. Chuck Clark is the one that takes care of all of the reserving the tent spaces and the RV spaces. And so they can call Charles Clark at Tribal Rolls and he can assist them with that. Jennifer probably already answered that question for them.
Yes. We have another question that just popped up on naming ceremonies and how that works. Again, I think we have, we'll leave that in Justin's part. Did you have more that you wanted to share this morning, Linda, Chairman, with regard to our group here this morning that you think you'd like to share?
I might say one more thing about the festival. We do plan to take a bus to the gathering. You know, we have not done that now for several years. And so anyway, we do plan to do that again. Lots of people throughout the years, lots of people have asked about that. And so we are making those plans to take a bus to Hannahville this year. That's where the gathering will be. And Hannahville is a little bit difficult because they do not have a lot of places to stay right there. So you have to room quite a ways off. Of course, our people at with the bus, they're expert at that. But if you are interested in going to the gathering, you need to contact, well, you can contact headquarters here and they'll connect you with Brandy Oswald. She's the one that is scheduling the bus.
Hannahville is in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, on the other side of the lake from the rest of Michigan. And it is a long trip, whether you go up through Michigan or whether you come around through Wisconsin and across. It's quite a long trip. Hannahville has a hotel at their casino, but I'm certain that hotel will be full, and it's some distance from Hannahville to other hotel facilities. So it will be a tough trip, and we'll also, for health concerns, if we have another outbreak of COVID or another mutation of COVID that raises the potential danger of catching COVID because of the close quarters on a bus, everyone will have to be tested for COVID that goes on the bus. And obviously we'd like to see them vaccinated as well. But that close quarters for that long a time, we want to be very careful that doesn't present a health hazard. And I'm certain that Hannahville will probably be taking some fairly stringent health measures to protect their community up there because it's remote. That area is, and I would imagine they're going to ask each of the tribes that come for festival to observe certain norms of infection prevention. So we'll be sure to publish those for you, but you know, please be empathetic with that small and Indian community in that remote an area. They're going to be very protective of their health. So we want to watch that and be sensitive to that on their behalf. Justin used to work up there, and he can tell you it's a long way from anywhere, isn't it, Justin?
Can't get there from here.
It really is. I mean, it's a good 30 minutes from just about either any direction. You can stay in Iron Mountain or you can stay in Escanaba. The only thing that's really complicated though is if you choose to stay in Escanaba, it's in a different time zone. So you're in the Eastern time zone, the reservation's in Central. So it can get real confusing if you come out of Escanaba. But it's very beautiful up there, and they're very very accommodating, very good folks up there. So I think you'll enjoy it if you get a chance to go.
I'd also like to interject a little bit because we've already made some reservations and stuff. I'm hoping the casino will, oh, you can't hear me? I apologize. I think I unmuted. Can you hear me? Okay, well, the chairman's doing this. And there was nothing at the casino, but I kind of hope the casino will maybe have some rooms set off for each tribe possibly. So I hope at that time they will. But when we checked as our drum ladies, we ended up being in Escanaba, but there are a lot of like cabins by the lake and stuff, which if you're going as a group, it's going to be as reasonable as getting any of the other places. And it's really pretty. And so don't just go motels. There's other options out there. And I just wanted to share that with you guys with our experience of going and stuff. Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. Anyone have any more questions or anything for Chairman Barrett or Ms. Capps?
I'd like to put in a word if any of you are looking for work and have a skill. We have 200 openings. I mean, we are advertising for people to fill some of these jobs that we have at the tribe, and we have a very large number of vacancies because of illness and because of retirement and people that have simply taken themselves out of the workforce. And we would really like to have any Potawatomis from these two districts have them apply for these jobs. We're going to be building some new housing. There is housing available in the Shawnee area, and these are good, high-paying jobs. And so we'd really like to have to hear from you folks. We want to fill those jobs with Citizen Potawatomi if we possibly can. And so please consider us if you're looking for work or you're thinking of changing jobs. We'd really like to have you come home.
Awesome. What kind of jobs are there open at the present, Chairman, just as sort of a teaser?
Well, Gina, as you know, we have 38 different activities at the tribe. I don't think you want me to list all of the different jobs and all the different activities.
An idea of the types of positions that are out there that people might want to check into. Because I do have two people here in Arizona who are moving to Oklahoma and inquired just 2 weeks ago with that regard. So I did refer them, to call and contact the nation.
Right. Contact HR, and there is a website on our website. There is a job posting area on the tribe's website, and just pull that website up and there'll be a list of the jobs that we are advertising for.
Very good. Thank you. Okay.
Right, Gene, who did we have next? Was it, I couldn't recall, was it
Justin was supposed
Zarina or
to,
Justin?
right. Justin was going to go next, if that's okay. I mean, it's totally up to them which one wants to go first. I'm excited to hear both. And I know that our connections are also, so other tribal members will enjoy you as I will. So is that okay? Go ahead.
Justin, can you adjust that blind behind you? You're getting a flare on your picture. Is there yeah, there we go.
There we go. Hold on here. I'm gonna share my screen in a minute anyway, so it won't matter in a second. But I will go ahead and address that question. Somebody had a question about namings. I can go ahead and address that right at the get-go. Because of the festivals getting canceled this last couple of years here, we haven't done a lot of namings. So I assume there's going to be a number of folks that do want to get named. Please get with us early so that we can talk you through the process, so that we can get the information, so that we know, who's wanting to get named. Whoever you want to name you needs to be someone that's been named before. We have a form that we'll have folks fill out a lot of times just to kind of give us an idea about a person, so we can get a feel for them. Because if we haven't met you face to face, it's a little bit more challenging sometimes to name you. But what we can do is we can look at your family's history, look at names that might have been in your family in the past, and we can take some of these questions into consideration on how we come about a name for you. But there is a ceremony involved. And you'll need to pass some tobacco to the one that you want to name you, some Samar tobacco. You can mail that in, preferably early with this questionnaire, so we kind of know what we're looking at. A number of people can name you. The chairman has named a considerable number of people. Ms. Capps has named a ton of folks. I've also done quite a few namings, but we're ready to help you out with that. If you want to give me a call at the office, we can kind of make sure that we've got you squared away and kind of ready to go if you plan on coming in for the festival. Like I said, since we haven't done namings in a little bit, I kind of expect we are going to have a number of folks that are going to want to get named. And like the chairman said, we're just going to have to kind of play by ear with, COVID protocols and how we want to do it and how we want to spread people out and whatnot for the process itself. Yeah, so if you want some more information, like I said, I'll talk to you some more about it later, but I just wanted to cover that right off the get-go. I didn't want to forget that. Now I'm going to try to share my screen here. Just give me 1 second. Let's see. Okay. Almost there. Hold on here. It's not gonna let me do it. Hold on here. Almost got it. Okay, share screen. Where did it go?
Do we have to click share screen or just you?
I think I just have to, Chairman.
Okay.
Let's see. You can tell me if you see what. You guys see Bodewad Mimwin Department?
No.
What do you guys? No, you do not. Well, that's not good then. Okay. Okay. Is it letting me share? There we go. Maybe now. Hold on, I'm close. How about now?
Yes, we see it now.
Okay, good deal. Oh, technology, it's always fun. Okay. So first off, I just wanted to talk a little bit about some of the projects that we have going on in the language department. Let's see, I'm going to move this image around so I can see my screens. Okay, so we applied for and got a $200,000 one-year Department of Energy grant. very strange place to get money for language, but we'll take it. The Department of Energy had some extra money laying around, and they earmarked it for language grants. I believe they gave out 8 grants, and we had applied and were able to get one of these grants. And the project that we had was to develop 12 children's books, 6 books for little, very small children, and then 6 for kids that are a little bit older. I've got some images. This is the first of one of our books. All of the books that we're developing are being done in-house by our incredibly talented staff. Some will be part Potawatomi, part English, and then most will also be in Potawatomi with either a translation at the end, like a glossary, but they're different styles of books. We just recently sent one to print and are making our first 1,000 copies. We hope to be able to distribute them free of charge to whomever has small children in their homes. We may also be able to include some of them in the festival bags for children this year. Okay. So this is kind of an example of some of the artwork we did. We took the story Chicken Little and put more of a Anishinaabe flair to it. And you can see here that the different plants, you have like Zao Jesus for carrots, got a wigwam in the background. And this is an example of one that we did where we kind of did part English, part Potawatomi, where it's like, Mr. Noah, the Gijuk is falling, Gijuk is sky. Peep squeaked in Zagzewin in fear. Really, Nisha Gaja Webuk, what's happening? Asked Noah. Well, Gibmose through the Mtugwin Tukwaki. So I was walking through the acorn forest when suddenly a piece of Gijuk sky fell on my Shtugwan. So this is kind of how this particular story is done. And at the end, again, Reagan Marcy in our department did all the artwork for it. And it's a cute little story. I think kids will enjoy it. But we've got, like I said, a variety of different stories. We've got some with an alphabet book, some with just some basic objects and little stories. We also did some winter stories that folks will just have to kind of only share in the wintertime. We did one about where fire came from. We did another one about why the birch tree has the markings on it. And I'm going to tell a couple of those stories here if I got time towards the end here. I got to watch my time. I'm not sure how much I'm supposed to use. So, okay. Some of our great tools that we got out there, we have this online Potawatomi dictionary at www.pottawamidictionary.com. Awesome dictionary. It was also developed in-house, kind of a collaborative deal between the language department and our IT department. And it was all done like from scratch. The gentleman in our IT department, Jonathan, really did a phenomenal job of every time I would give him a suggestion, I'd say, hey, can we do this? He'd say, sure. Can we do this? And I always have all these crazy ideas of how we could make it more engaging. And every time I gave him a new idea, he was able to do it. So some of the neat features this dictionary has is, number one, there's a little speaker icon where you can listen to the audio. So you can listen to the word, but then it's got 1 to 2 example sentences. So this one here, you can listen to, Gi Kasinyam get, Minagi Bonium get, it was cold and snowing. But it also has, historic audio on the side. So I've collected a lot of audio files over the years of different speakers, and you can hear like some of our speakers who have passed away, like James McKinney and Walter Cooper, one of our last Citizen Potawatomi first language speakers. You can listen to him say the words. And then, so you can search in Potawatomi or you can search in English. You can also do there's a thing called tags. And it's kind of like categorized groupings of words. So like if you want to find a bunch of words about birds, you can hit on animals and then birds, and you can find a whole listing of birds. If you want to find weather phenomenon, you can hit on weather, and it'll show you all kinds of words that are related to weather. So it also has video capacity, which is really cool. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me show some more slides here. Related words things is cool too. So it has Bonim get for it's snowing, but we also have Shiopol, which means it's snowing really hard. Mjuknebabon, it means a year without snow or no snow on the ground. Degwagan, like crusted snow or like hard snow. Pom get kind of flurries of snow. So it has all these related words also connected to it. So you can spend hours here just kind of going from one section to another. And you see the tag up here for this one, it says weather. Let's see what else. Okay, I said all that and then move down. And I may try to hit on some of these. We're going to see here if it'll go to it. And on some of these, they ain't going to do it. Okay. So like on some of these, like some of the plant ones, you can actually watch videos and everything. The one on SEMA, you can hit on that one and it actually will take you to, there's a video right there you can watch about the process of SEMA, kind of how to plant it. SEMA is one of the plants that we had growing in our community garden, and it talks about how to care for the SEMA, the tobacco plants and everything. And then there's also a little button for cultural information you can tap on that explains to you the importance of tobacco, kind of how we use it, how you gift somebody tobacco when you're asking, certain types of cultural questions, or how you put down tobacco when you pray and things like that. That's all kind of contained in the dictionary. There's also an app form of it that you can find at the App Store. If you look for, I believe, just Citizen Potawatomi Dictionary, you should be able to find it. Nope. Okay. I thought I'd be able to go to those, but we also have two different YouTube channels. One that's kind of more geared toward adult learners, one more geared toward children. And we've got tons of content on. We've probably got 300 videos at least on each site, maybe more. Some of the types of content you'll find there on the kids side, we have an animated puppet show that we made. We've got 7 episodes of it, of this group of animals that are living in a tree house, and they're having little misadventures and stuff like that. And they're just saying words back and forth. Little kids love that show. We've also got a bunch of public domain films that we've been able to put into Potawatomi, like some of those old 1940s, 1950s cartoons like Superman and Popeye the Sailor Man, Woody Woodpecker. Some of those are in public domain today. And so we were able to put that entire cartoon into Potawatomi and we got 3 versions. So don't worry, no matter what level you're at, we've been making everything 3 versions. One that has English subtitles, so you can just watch it with English subtitles. Another version where you can watch it with Potawatomi subtitles, maybe if you're a little more advanced and you want to make sure you're hearing what you heard right. And then one with no subtitles, because some people would rather just hear it, especially little kids. They don't need to read it. They can't read it anyway. So just hearing the words and everything. But like I said, we got all types of we have Elmer Fudd, Popeye, as Sinbad. We also did some larger movies. There's one, Gulliver's Travels. It's like a 1940s cartoon. It was really done really neat. It's done in Technicolor, but it is color. It's like the original color, but it's an hour, 15-minute movie. And we did that all in Potawatomi. We also took, around Halloween, we took the classic Night of the Living Dead, the old black and white one. It's in public domain, believe it or not, because they kind of didn't think it was going to make any money. They thought it was just I don't think it made any money originally, but it kind of became a cult classic down the road. But that old black and white version, we put that all in Potawatomi. Let me tell you, that movie actually has a lot of really good usable language, because in a movie like that, you're not going to hear a lot of long dialogue about, oh, what about this? It's like, run, hurry, help me. What are you doing? Let's get out of here. It's very short, kind of like, hey, what's happening over there? Real short dialogue that you would use day-to-day conversation. So it was really a blast to kind of do that one. And the nice thing about that movie too is that those old school scary movies aren't like today's scary movies. Today's scary movies, it's like everything has to have like massive blood everywhere and all kinds of craziness. And those old school ones were more about the suspense and kind of the drama of it. There's really not any of that happens in that movie. So that's pretty fun to watch. And Potawatomi, we did an Andy Griffith bit. We did we're working on a Beverly Hillbillies one. Actually, the first 7 years of the Beverly Hillbillies is actually in public domain. And we've got the first one that we're almost done with. It's about a 30-minute little spoof, and it's pretty funny. It's that first episode where they first strike oil. It's pretty hilarious. And what's fun about these type movies is we're able to put a little Potawatomi. We put the Potawatomi in there, but we also are able to put like a little bit of accent to it. Sounding like I guess Bojo, Nijanangom, whatever, like acting like Granny or whoever it is, and but they're really fun to watch. And then we also have everything that we do, every class that we teach in Shawnee or online, we record those classes. and we place those online so you can watch them later, especially on the adult geared Potawatomi site. You can find those there. There's tons of classes we've taught about everything under the sun. There's also a bunch of PowerPoint kind of demonstration classes I think people would enjoy. And anytime we also, if we teach one online, a lot of times we'll do it through Facebook, and we'll share it in our we have a Potawatomi Facebook group that's got about 5,000 people. Great group to kind of join and just ask questions about the language. There's always folks there that'll help you out with stuff. Let's see, let me go on here. I don't want to just ramble on. I apologize. Online high school courses, very exciting. We've actually, we started this out a couple years ago with just Wanette kind of as our partner. And today we've got Wanette, Shawnee, Maud, Seminole, and Tecumseh. All 5 of those high schools offer Potawatomi language in the high school. The awesome thing too is they're not offered as elective. These are offered as world language credit. So every student in Oklahoma has to take 2 years of world language credit for graduation. Well, that's part of what they're getting through this online course. They're getting that world language. So instead of having a student that has to take, let's say, German or French, they can take Potawatomi. Now, I've had questions before, and I want to address this to folks that live outside of the area. You know, is this something that we could offer in Kansas, or could we offer this in Michigan? It really just depends. It's kind of a district, state by state question. I did have somebody from Texas talk to me, and since we have folks from Texas here, I'll address that. I contacted the Board of Education. We had conversations. It was a little more complicated with them. They weren't real geared on the idea of doing it. It kind of came down to, is there a way that we could kind of put it in with a college course, like maybe dual certification? And we did used to have a collegiate partner with St. Gregory's. We may have some collegiate partners in the future, but they weren't real open to it. But doesn't mean that we can't press them some more and they can't change their minds. I do know in Michigan, we've had students take the online the high school course and be able to take it for credit. So it really kind of depends state to state. I wish there was more of a federal type, one person you talk to that kind of standard across the board. Also, if you homeschool your kids, I don't see why you couldn't use this as part of your homeschool curriculum. Like I said, it's just kind of it's going to depend on a district to district kind of level, usually more on a state level, but I'm sure they could take it, if nothing else, for at least as an elective, even if they won't allow them to take it for their language credit. So, but I do foresee this really expanding in the future. We just recently added a middle school course, which was very exciting to me. So almost every kid that goes through Shawnee Middle School will have this Intro Potawatomi course. It's a 9-week course. The kids have to take, I think it's 4 or 5 9-week courses every year, everything from like health, Potawatomi, what else they take, like, I don't know, home ec. I'm not sure what the other courses are, but there's different. Golf, I think, is one of them, but it's one of those 9-week courses. What happened was they called me up about a month before school started, and they said, hey, we've lost our Spanish teacher. Would you be interested in offering the language? And I was like, okay. I mean, when opportunities like that knock, you just have to jump. And so I've just really worked hard to get this all put together in time, me and my staff, and we got it out, rolled it out, and we're in, I think, our 3rd group of kids that went through it. And it's 2 different classes of like 30 kids. So it's awesome. All these different kids are getting exposed to the Potawatomi language and culture at a young age in the Shawnee School District. And I'd love to see this one also expand in other middle schools. It's just kind of a matter of timing and everything. So these are some exciting things that we have going on there. And I want to hurry because I've already talked too long. I apologize. And Zamindona, I talked too much. Eventually, that same system we're using for the high school courses, we're also going to have a adult class or adult kind of self-paced version of that. We have an older version on Moodle, but Moodle's kind of become archaic. So we've been working with the networking department to move to this new platform. But in the meantime, we have 2 courses on Memrise, memrise.com. If you go there, you usually will have to search through your computer to find it first. But if you go through your computer to memrise.com, you can find it. One's called A Day in Your Life. The other one's like Potawatomi Phrases or something. And what's fun about that is it's kind of a game element to it. You can compete against each other. lots of audio recordings of folks you can listen to. It's lots of fun. Okay, let me keep going. Whoa. Our staff also goes into our child development centers Monday through Thursday. So we've got the two child development centers presently. I'm not sure how the Choctaw Center will change things. We may have to get in up there as well, but we go in Monday through Thursday at the casino, the one by the casino, and then the east one over by admin, and they work with the kids. They do a great job. Other kind of little projects that we've kind of been working on. I've been working on a frequency list. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the Dolce list in English. It's kind of like your most commonly used terminologies. And I've been using some different resources to kind of pull out and decide, these are words that come up more often. That way you can kind of pinpoint which words you can really kind of push to people to try to learn, because in English, we only use a certain number of words regularly every day. And if you can kind of pinpoint what those are in Potawatomi or any language, it can really help you with the learning process. We've got an old 1868 dictionary that's got a lot of that I've been using to analyze. I transcribed the whole thing. It was about 350 pages, transcribed it. It was written in cursive, been pulling word examples, things like that, adding to our dictionary. Currently, the dictionary has about 70% of our words have audio. There's almost 10,000 words, and we're enhancing and building our high school course, developing. And we're working on a college course to top it off. We're also working with the education department on a college curriculum. So tons of stuff going on in the language department. We're always open to ideas, suggestions, new ways to go about things. If you've heard of something that you think is neat or a neat way to go about things, please let us know. We're willing to try stuff out, and anything we can do to make the language accessible to our membership everywhere. So were you going to say something, Gene? Oh. Okay, so I want to teach you all a few words and then tell a couple of winter stories, and I'll try to wrap up here. I apologize for being so long-winded. So here's just a few general terminologies that you guys might want to learn. Bojo, bojo. Bojo is hello, bojo. And the awesome thing about our language is there's a lot of cultural information a lot of times inside of a lot of our words. A lot of people say bojo sounds a little bit like bonjour. They think maybe it came from the French, but we have a story about Nana Bojo. Sometimes he's called Whiskey the trickster, and he was gone from the people for a very long time. I'm giving you the real short version of this. And when he came back, everyone hadn't seen him for a very, very long time, but they still kind of recognized him, and they kind of went up to him and they shook his hand and they said, "Hey, Nana Bojo." And then it got shortened to Bojo over the years. And it's more of a formal way of talking to say hello. How or ahau is how we say hello, just kind of a more of a general, like, hey, how's it going? Hey, how? Like how nikan means hello friend. A lot of people don't realize that that's what the name of the paper means. It means hello friend, how nikan. Jayak, everyone, Jayak. So if you want to greet a group of people, you can say Bojo Jayak. And then if you want to say your name, you can say like Justin Nadezhnikas or Jean Nadezhnikas or Bob Nadezhnikas. That Nadezhnikas means I'm called. And then you can introduce where you're from, like Texas, Ndochpia, or maybe you want to get more specific, Dallas, Texas, Ndochpia. For me, Shawnee, Ndochpia, Shawnee, Oklahoma, Ndochpia. Bodewad Mindao, Bodewad Mindao, I'm Potawatomi, Bodewad Mindao. Minogizgit, Minogizgit, Minogizgit. A good day or a nice day, Minogizgit. Bonimget, I feel like this word is relevant for recently. It seems like it's been snowing everywhere. Bonimget, it's snowing, Bonimget. And then Bamamina, Bamamina. Later again, Bamamina. We don't have a real word for goodbye in our language. Goodbye is kind of like seen as kind of almost like wishing ill on somebody. So it's always later again or later on, Bamapi, or later somewhere, Bamamina Ngoji. But it's always got that element that you're going to see that person again at some point. Miigwech, Miigwech, thank you, Miigwech. Another one that you sometimes also hear is Iguian. Iguian is kind of a heartfelt thanks, Iguian. So one more time, let me run through these real quick. Bojo, Bojo, and if you'll say those where you're at, Bojo. Jayak, Jayak. Nadezhnikas, so you can say your name or you can say mine, Justin Nadezhnikas, Justin Nadezhnikas. Texas, Ndochpia, Texas, Ndochpia, or wherever you're from, Ndochpia, Bodewad Mindau, Bodewad Mindau, Manogijget, Manogijget, Manogij. I've always been told that it's always a nice day. Every day you wake up is a nice day. Manogijget, a good day or a nice day. Manogijget. Bonimget, Bonimget, Bonimget. It's snowing. Bamamina, Bamamina. Later again, Bamamina and Miigwech. Miigwech. And let me look at, I see some questions up here. Let me try to address those real quick here, if I can, if there's any. Who will be in charge? Oh, that's something about that's about the festival. Okay. Voice actors, future, maybe. Somebody said, do we need voice actors for future projects? Perhaps. I think it's always nice to hear different people say things. And I can tell you from experience, I don't have a hard time working with people and getting them to learn the words that they have to say. So do you live locally, the person that asked that? You might send me an email, and I'm always up for different voices and sounds of people in projects. So yeah, let me know. Let me see what else we got here real quick. Did I miss anything else? Okay. I didn't see too many other questions. If I get any more at the end, but let me tell at least one quick winter story real quick here. We'll tell the story about the gawk, the porcupine. And there's lots of these winter stories that they're supposed to be told in the wintertime when there's snow on the ground. For once here in Shawnee, we have that ability to tell it when there's snow on the ground. A lot of times we'll just work with the seasons and we'll tell these stories in the wintertime. That's as good as it gets, because there have been years here in Shawnee where we're lucky to get just a little flake of snow and it melts like, a day later or something. So it'd be impossible if we had to plan around snow. We are going to try to do a larger winter storytelling event this year. Right now, it's going to be at the Heritage Center, but we're also going to make it online. That's possibly could change. As we all know with COVID, we have to keep that in mind. With the Heritage Center, we have a lot of room where we can really spread people out in the long room. We just have to kind of decide how that's going to work out. Worst case scenario, we will do it all online, but it will happen. I believe I got it scheduled for the 5th of March. So look for some more information about that. There should be some in the upcoming HownieCon. But like I said, there's a lot of these stories that we only tell in the winter. There's a lot more than I can tell today. But anyway, the gawk, the porcupine. So a long time ago, the porcupine was a kind of a soft, furry, kind of cuddly little animal, just real furry. And he would walk out into the openings, like a clearing, and a bear saw him. And that macaw, that bear, would chase after him, and that little gawk would just take off with his little feet, just taking off in the woods, running away from this guy. And then later, a wolf would see him, and it would chase after him, because again, this real soft, furry, little chunky little animal, great little snack. Everybody was ready to take him out, if you will. And this time he went up this tree. He went up this hawthorn tree, and he got up there in this tree, and that wolf was just, that mo'oway was just howling and barking at him and growling at him. But he got up there, and he's like, ow. And he stuck himself on one of those hawthorns, those thorns in that hawthorn tree. He's like, ow, man, that really hurt. And so he's sitting up there waiting, hoping that this mo'oway, this wolf's going to take off soon. And finally he takes off, and he's sitting there thinking, wait a minute, this is a great idea. If I could just, I could use these thorns to my advantage. So he gets some of these thorns, he comes down out of that tree, and he gets himself some mud and stuff, and he puts it on his back, and he sticks those hawthorn thorns on his back. And he's like, okay, next time these guys see me, I'm gonna have better luck. Things are gonna go better this time. And so the next day he sees that macaw, that bear, kind of comes out of the woods, and he sees that porcupine, that gawk, and that gawk, he doesn't run. He just kind of does his own thing, kind of linger along. And that macaw's thinking, okay, I'm hungry. This is great. This guy's not even gonna run. So he just charges in on that gawk, and he reaches out and he opens his mouth and just takes a big old bite of that gawk. And he's like, ah, just squeals out in pain. And Weppy Wet just takes off running. He's just, ah. Oh, that it was a bad choice. And that gawk's thinking, okay, this is great. This thing is really working. So he puts a few more of those hawthorns on his back. And again, the next day, this time the wolf kind of comes out of the clearing, right as the bear does too, the macaw. And the wolf's looking, the Mottaway's looking over there thinking, man, dang, that looks really yummy, but that bear's going to run down there and eat him, and I'm not going to have a chance. That bear takes one look at that gawk, and he takes off running the other direction. And the Mottaway's kind of sitting there looking like, well, whatever. I mean, more food for me, I guess. This guy doesn't want it. Great. This is my lucky day. No geese get. This is a good day. So he kind of works his way in there, gets close to that gawk, opens up his mouth, takes a big old bite of him, takes off. Oh my gosh. Oh, just in intense pain. Takes running off. Well, Wiske, or the trickster, he's been kind of watching what's been going on. And he thinks, man, that gawk is pretty smart. I'm going to help him out. I'm going to help him out so he can keep those hawthorns on him, keep those protective covering on him for good. So he goes down and he talks to the gawk. He said, hey, you're a pretty smart guy. Mbwakowlet. You're pretty smart. I'm going to help you out. I'm going to put those thorns on you, and I'm going to get some clay and put it on your back and really put those thorns in there really good. And he does that. And so that is why today the porcupine has quills. Yeah. So that's one story. We've got a lot of these type of winter stories that a lot of them, they describe why animals are the way they are or why certain things happen the way they do. Another good one that comes to mind that's kind of short real quick that I can tell is one about maple syrup. Now, for those of you who don't realize, maple syrup was always kind of our livelihood when we lived in the Great Lakes. Sadly, when we came down to Oklahoma, one of the hardest challenges, I think, for our ancestors was a lot of the trees and things that we used to make our everyday existence just didn't grow down here. You didn't have, large amounts of birch bark. You didn't have, the trees don't run down here. You don't have the right conditions. What you have to have is an extremely cold environment with a real abrupt warm up. And so a lot of times where you see people doing maple syrup, it's usually up in the Northeast, kind of Maine, Michigan, up into Ontario and Wisconsin, those colder areas. You can kind of do it a little bit maybe in Illinois, but you start getting down here, you really don't tend to have the right environmental needs for that to happen. So anyway, but a long time ago, maple syrup, it came easy. When Pengadet, life was easy, life was good. And so Wiske, he went to visit some of the Potawatomi, some of the Nishnabek that were in their village, and he went looking for them. So he went out and he looked in their gardens, looked around, and couldn't see them. He went over and looked in the woods, see if they were out there hunting. Nobody was out hunting. Kind of went looking to see if maybe they were out playing some Pugnagewan, a little bit of stickball, but their rackets were over there. They weren't doing that, and just kind of scratched his head. Well, where is everybody? He started looking, and he goes back into, there's a big old area with a bunch of maple trees, and he sees some folks just laying there, just laying on their backs, just mouth open, just like a tap, just that sugar just pouring into their mouth. Because back in the day, the trees used to run like that. It was like you just turned the little faucet on, and out it came. They're just sitting there and loving life, just sucking up that sweet, sugary maple syrup, just living life, living the good life. And he sat there and he watched them and he thought, man, this isn't good. The people are going to get lazy. They're not going to want to do anything. Their crops are going to die. They're not going to have any food in the wintertime, because they're just going to be sitting around enjoying maple syrup all the time. Things aren't going to get done. I mean, people weren't even watching their kids. Their kids were just taking off, running around. I mean, they're going to get attacked by animals. We got to do something. So he says, okay, I have to do something. I have to do something to help folks out. So he went and he got himself a big old bucket of water, and he went up to the top of one of those big, huge maple trees. He poured that water in there. And he said, okay, now it's going to be a little harder. So now, today, when you tap that maple tree, it'll come out, but it kind of comes out just kind of like drip, drip, drip. Just come, and then you got to boil it all down to get all the good stuff out of it. So you have to you might get a big old, 5-gallon bucket of maple, and when you boil it all down, you might only end up getting like a gallon or something out of that entire thing. So you got to take it, put it on a fire all night, keep the fire going, and really boil it down. It's a real long, kind of tedious process. It takes a couple days to really get it all ready to go. And so Weescay did that. He tried to help the people out, and that's why the trees run so slow today. It used to be the good days, but we messed up, I guess. So, and there's another story there. But like I said, we got a lot of stories like that. We've got one about. I'll try to tell one more real quick one if I got time. I apologize if I've taken up too much time. I'll tell one more quick one and be done with it here. So a long time ago, we didn't used to have fire. And so Nokomis, grandma, and Weescay, the grandson, they were in their wigwam, and they were talking about how cold it was, and why is it that mankind has to suffer so much? How come we don't have any fire available to us? And so the Nokomis said to her grandson, well, there's an old man up north that he's got this thing, this entity that keeps everybody warm. They call it Shkode. They call it fire. He's got this fire up there, and it keeps everybody warm, and he cooks food with it. It's this great thing, but he's real anodze. He's real stingy, and he doesn't want to share it with anybody. So it's just him and his 3 daughters, and they're just up there basically with this thing called fire, staying warm and cooking their food. And, life is good. And Weescay says to his grandma, his Nokomis, he said, well, maybe I can go talk to him. Maybe I can reason with him, see if he can share that with everybody else, so that everybody can have some warmth, and everybody's not freezing during the wintertime, all cuddled up in blankets and just staying in the house. And, maybe I can do that for mankind. So Nokomis says, well, it's way up there, and she really doesn't want Weescay to go, but she knows he's determined. He's going to go anyway. And he says, Nokomis, just have some branches, have some tinder, some small little twigs and things ready when I get back, and I'm going to bring back that fire. So he goes up there, and he kind of looks, he sees the wigwam, he sees the smoke coming out of it, and he's trying to think of a plan. How's he going to sneak in this place? This guy is not going to just let him in. So he thinks, well, I know what I'm going to do. He's got 3 daughters. I'm going to turn into a little cute, fluffy bunny. They won't be able to resist me. So he turns himself into this cute little white little bunny, this little white hair, and just kind of sitting over there, just shivering. And those daughters, they come out and they see this little rabbit, and they're like, oh my gosh, you're so cold. Oh no. The first sister, the older sister's like, well, Dad doesn't want anybody in the house, the wigwam. You can't be bringing him in the wigwam. We can't do that. And the second older sister's like, yeah, he's going to get mad. He's going to blame me. I'm not taking the fall for this. The littlest daughter is just like, grabs him, puts him under her little jacket there, and kind of sneaks him in, sets him down there by the fire, and he's over there just warming up. The dad wakes up. He'd been sleeping, and he's just furious. He's like, who brought this stranger into our house? We don't know who this is. This could be some kind of spirit. This person's going to, we don't know what this person's up to. He's probably going to steal from us or take our fire. We don't know. Just really lays into everybody. And, everybody's kind of like, oh, I don't know. And everybody's playing innocent and everything. And finally, he just says, whatever. And he gets tired. And the older girls start cooking, and the younger girl kind of goes with them and starts helping him cook. And he's, of course, enjoying the warmth himself, and just kind of falls asleep, just enjoying the warmth, and just kind of gave up with it. So Wabozo or Weescay is kind of sitting there by the fire, and that fire just kind of starts sparking a little bit. One of those sparks jumps out, lands on Weescay's back, and he starts smoking. He's like, okay, I got the fire. He just takes off, just bouncing out. He's gone. Goes up, and he's yelling for his Nokomis. Nokomis, Gadoji down there, you ready? And he gets over there, and she's got those branches, and he puts that spark off his back, and he puts it in those branches. And then before you know it, they've got a nice old fire blazing up, and they invite all the people around to come get a little bit of that fire, so they can also have that fire to warm their wigwams and to cook their food with. And so then they've got that fire. And that is why the rabbit, the white snowshoe hare, turns brown in the summertime. It's because he got burnt by the coal. And then he turns back white in the wintertime. So like I said, a lot of our stories, they explain why certain animals are the way they are, or where certain gifts were given to us from. Those are the ones I thought I'd share with you guys today. I don't want to take up too much time. Hopefully you enjoyed those. Let me see if I got any questions real quick, and then I will be done and pass the mic here, if you will. Let's see. Voice actors, questions, answers. Okay, I don't think we had any questions.
Justin, one person did ask about the books,
Yes.
the children's books. I think you answered that, but would you cover that again?
Yeah, I didn't see the question itself, but let me see if I can find it here. It's about the books. Hold on one second. Trying to go down this message. Anybody sees it before me? I love this. How do we get the books when they come out? Okay, how do you get them? My goal is to be able to just send them out to anybody that has children in their household. But if you want to make sure that you get one, definitely send me an email to jneely@potawatomi.org. Send me your address. That way, make sure we got you on the list. We're probably going to put some of them in the festival bags that we're going to be putting together here in the real near soon future. And it's going to be a process because we have the first book done. We got another one we're about done with. So we won't have all of them already at one time yet, but as we get them ready, we'll definitely be able to send them out to people free of cost. That's the beauty of this grant. A lot of the grant was for the actual cost of publishing these books so we can make them available to folks. So yeah, just get me your information and we can make sure that you get one. So Miigwech, Jayak, thank you everyone. And yep.
Thank you, Justin. That was awesome. I love the stories. I could sit and listen to these little stories all day long. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Zarina, you're on.
I'm on, huh? Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you guys for inviting me very much. Miigwech, and bonjour to everyone. And I think it's exciting to always, I kind of get stuck in my little office here and to hear what's going on with the nation and stuff is always really exciting for me. And I want to say special thanks for those that are going to be honoring our folks that have walked on. And I'd like to see that incorporated every year, that maybe something small and more, ceremony for those that have walked on would be great and stuff. But anyways, I'm Zarina Thompson. I work at the Cultural Heritage Center. I work in the archives, and they have labeled me, which I don't know that it works, but I do love doing it, a family history specialist. We have a lot of programs out there available for our tribal members and non-tribal members to do a little bit of family research. So I'm going to start off with, and we'll see if the screen share works right here. Okay, does everybody see that?
Yes.
And if I go too long and you guys need to stop me, there's kind of a stopping point in between these within my, let's see, I was trying to get, there we go, full screen. And also on full screen, I'm not sure, I may be able to see the chat on the side. I'm not sure. I can at this moment, but anyways, so I will go back and check those questions, or anybody's free to, that has the mic on, to just ask me the question. That'd be great too. So this is the Cultural Heritage's website. This is really, I'm just really proud of it. I haven't got just tons of input in it, but I'm really proud of what we've accomplished here. And you can get to that website a lot of places actually, but potawatomi.heritage.com. And this is the page that will come up. Right here at the bottom is C. Thompson at potawatomi.org. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to email me. That's probably as easy. You can call in that as well and ask for a family history person or czar. I go by czar a lot of the times. And I did start this Monday, this slideshow. So, and then then we got snowed in. So I was snowed in for a few days. So I apologize if it seems a little scattered. I would have liked to have been able to go through it. But this will be the first page you come up on. And a lot of times for looking for our family history information that from the resources that we have online. And at one time I call them the gray document boxes, family collections, family deals, and they're usually by family. But we were able to separate those documents. It's been a number of years now so you can go in by name. So here at this, you see the resource, and you have allotments, ancestors, archives, family manuscripts. But to look at those documents, we have option 1 and option 2 is where I usually send people. And so if you click on archives, you're going to get a page, something very similar to this. And it's going to look like this. So on this page, this is a really fun page. So this will take you to where you can explore the following collections if you select archives first. The family history collections, executive collection, judicial collection, the legislative collection, Hanukkah collection, tribal heritage production. So we're looking at family history and we're going to go there, but I would like to point out if you happen to want to go to something like the executive collection, they have the business committee meeting notes from 1940. How exciting is that? Some people would really enjoy reading that. So I suggest you come in here and you look at all these different collections. Now, over here in this little green circle is a search bar, and it will search through all of these collections, just not just through one or the other. If you want to put, I have used Otis a lot today or this week, and you can put him in and he'll come up, that name will come up in 2 or 3 of these different collections. But family history collection, excuse me, is the one we want to go with. And it'll look like this, and we're going to click on it. And it's going to pull up these different manuscripts from different families that we have probably kind of separated, some of our main families and stuff. I'd like to point out here's still that little search collection. You can search through there, but it will pull up from those other collections. But the Bursaw family manuscripts, they're one of the largest, actually the largest collection we have. All the families are connected. You could be a Peltier Bursaw. You could be Bursaw Frigon or Francoeur. There's just a lot of different names that are all kind of connected. So we're going to click on the Bursaw family collection, and we're going to look at that. And you're going to come to a page that looks like this. And right here to this side, you got Bursaw miscellaneous, the Bursaw government documents, genealogy and family history. But you notice I've kind of made big, sorry if it's fuzzy, at view all. So you want to click the view all because there may be more of those collections than you have. And here it shows all the options under the view all and the different groups that you can look at. And of course, we're going to go into, there's allotments, census, family history, genealogy, government documents, and then Bursaw miscellaneous. And these were separated by tribal roles before those document boxes became into to the archives care. And so this is how we did it. So it's not always going to be like what you would think is genealogy may or may not could fall into family history. So you have to go through the whole collection. And the nice thing about coming this way and going through this complete collection, which is time consuming, you are going to get probably a nice holistic overall view of this family. And even within it, it's going to reflect on the other families as well. And so if you can go through the more of these, you're just going to get a beautiful history of our tribe. So we click on the Bursaw family history, and you're going to have a page that looks like this. And you'll notice here's a document, a scanned document, and then here's a little line of them. And I've got these circled, and you can go to the next page, either one of this. But I wanted to point out this finding aid over here to the right. You can read through there, and you'll see Indiana Historical Collections, page 410 through 4, Tipton to Calhoun, November 20th, 1824. Leon Bursaw on page 4. So that is what we're looking up here in this corner, is that first document. And you can come down here. If you don't want to go through these, you can kind of scan through and read this finding aid. You'll see letter to Beverly Hughes. Sweet Spirit right there. We love that girl. And so that'll be helpful in that way. But when you want to go through them and glance through all these, you'll just click either here on expand, or you can click into this area right here. And this is what you'll pull up and see. You'll have that first one that if you clicked on it came up first. You see this long line here. These little fancy numbers are archival numbers and are useful if you do see one, for example, that you want a good copy of or need something you need to contact archives here, then we can get you a nice scan of that. So this page is, hope it's not too busy. We have a forward and a back button, the arrows for scrolling through these files. You can double click on that document or use your mouse scroll wheel to make the document view larger or smaller, as well as drag. So if you make it large and you can't read the whole letter and you're like me and your eyes, you like to see as much, as large as you can, then you can kind of go down you can scroll down in front. Now, if printing is interesting, so like here, right clicking on the page will provide a drop-down menu with the options save as image, or you can take a screenshot if you want to copy it. And if you don't know that procedure, please let me know. There may be another option for printing this straight from here, but we've talked about it, and I'll have to be honest. I work on the back side of these programs, so a lot of times I'm not as informed as I should be. So now on these little thumbnail files, you can click on any of them. So for example, you see a genealogy chart or something that looks familiar to you that you've went through this before, or handwritten notes, and you can click on any of those and get to that file, as well as the scroll buttons to the side. So we're back here, and so the second option that you have and it's viewing the same documents. So you're viewing the same documents, but just a different way to look at them. So through the archives, you're looking at the complete collection, even though you can search through there. And then so we're going to try out the family manuscripts, which is a little different. And you're going to have a page that looks really nice. I love the art on this. They did such a great job. I cannot, I admire their work. So from this page, I want to point out this talking about here, the family manuscripts collections makes accessible more than 300 years, and realize these are not originals. Some of them are copies, but there are some originals, more contemporary times, of citizen Potawatomi culture and history, researched and compiled and donated by tribal members over a 40-year period. The collection contains over 30,000 documents that includes federal allotments, census records, legal files, correspondence, genealogical material, family histories, and biographies. The records have been categorized by tribal family and their respective members. So right here in this little box says content. This is really important. No matter where you're doing your research, you have to realize where your information comes from. It's beautiful if you can find that there's we'd be so blessed if we could find a primary source on so many documents we find. But anyways, this content within this collection should be considered subjective. And so understand that what Aunt Sarah said about a family incident and what her brother John said might be two different stories. They were different ages or had different perspectives or heard the story from different people. So anything that you find in these collections, you'll want to realize that. And also something too is the spelling of names. I mean, when you're doing genealogical, you have to have every option of spelling a name. So we look down here, so we come below that box, there's the search box, which you can type in a surname, you can type in a given name. It is usually by a name, so it's going to be a first or last name. And of course our help button, and then browse by family name and browse by folder. So we're just going to kind of run through that. I really like my help. It's help. The best way to search this page is going through the process of going through this help and the next, and it explains, and it will give you the best outcome for this research and the best use of these resources. So right here on this browse by folder, you can select any, like I could have went to O or B or some, you know, Otis, but I can go all and it'll be through all these folders. These folders were generated by taking those, all the documents in those collections and separating them by name. So if you have a government letter and it has two Otis Burnett, that's who we're liking, or about Otis Burnett, you're going to have that in Otis Burnett's folder. Here you can see Alan Otis. Over here, the names that came up when you put Otis in. Theotis, so Otis. So even if you put in just a part of the name, you're going to get, I do that a lot when I'm using Ancestry or even any of our collections, because spellings can be very, can kind of keep you from finding the good stuff if you're not careful. So by putting in part, it's also nice to see here, wife of Otis B. Now, something you always have to take with a grain of salt, Otis B. Well, we're thinking, yes, that's this Otis Burnett right here, but he could be named after his uncle, Otis Burnett. So you have to really be, you know, kind of always take everything as like, do I have the right person? How can I be sure I have the right person? And that's with birth dates, maybe associations like the wife of Otis B. Mary. And then we got Mary Jane Burnett, child of Otis and Mary Burnett. So you have a little bit of info just right there. And then that possibly you may come off Mary Jane, or you didn't know about Aunt Mary or something like that. And then of course, because this is through all of our manuscripts, we have Charles Otis Darling and Otis Darling. There's a good chance these are the same people, but not always. So you do have to kind of do your homework. And if you'll notice at the bottom, there's the little numbers 1, 2, 3. So there's 3 pages. And I know I made the mistake when I first was playing in this and looking at it. I was like, they're not showing me anything. But because I keep my screen large because of my eyesight, I too tend to do. So always scroll up or scroll down on those deals, but you can go to the different pages. So here, when we do browse by family name, I left Otis in there. I just had Otis in there. That's, you know, it's kind of small. And then I typed in, or, excuse me, actually this is a drop down, and I apologize I didn't show that, but there's a drop down menu here, and I put Tupin in there where the green arrow is. And I do find Otis Murphy Trousdale, who was a Tupin, and you can find it. So that is also some way, if you want to just look, well, this is my Otis's. Do I want the, you know, you may know very well which Otis, but don't ever discount not finding something. A census has a page of 15 people. You know, you may find that person in a folder or in a family collection that has nothing to do with their family. So, you know, the Burnett family and the Bursall family. Well, if you're looking at Otis Burnett and then you come down, or Bruno or whatever, you're going to possibly find a census information about a family member that you're not actually looking for. So always don't ever discount anything that you're looking at. But we want Otis Burnett, and I put the Burnett in, and these are the ones I found that say Otis in the Burnett file. So there's a good chance maybe he is the only Otis, but also we're looking at a time frame in history, you know, so always keep that in mind as well. So when you click on Otis Burnett, and let's go back. So right here, when you click on the name down here, you're going to pull up what looks like this screen here. It's kind of darkened in the back. You've got this little bitty screen in here. And then, so you can do you can click to expand this document. It says down here at the bottom, click to expand this page, as well as select one of the documents from the side view. So you have this little side view, and you have a little scroll bar you can pull down or click on to get and see what your options are for the name Otis Burnett. So here's where I clicked on Otis. He's a very attractive man. I think he was born, if you looked at this first one, This is the 1937 Indian census roll. And Otis, I believe, was about, I think that's 46. So he was roughly born, you take 46 years from 1937, you get somewhere around 1891. Now that's the ballpark, and you kind of have to kind of do because it's very possible, because I also believe he also was an 1887 allotee. So 1891. So we're thinking maybe we want to push that a little the other way. And he didn't know his year of birth. So that's always something to think about. It's also a good way to say, well, is this the Otis Burnett that was the 1887 allotee? So you get to find that and question that. And I think I spoke, if you do, so this, once you get to the page, you can click on that image and you'll get a larger image of the document in a separate window with its own tab. And you can see the tab up here, and this will be the picture. You can also click on the picture once you get it in the single tab, make it larger. Sometimes it's really nice to have that when you're reading a document. It gives you a deal. You have the sidebars where you can do it. Now, I always do this, and this is why I brought it up. It's like, so I want to go back. Well, I can't go back. Well, you just close this window by closing this tab, and then you'll go back to your original picture. So I just want to bring up, there's so many cool things in just this program, but let's just look at allotments and veterans. I just want to show you that because it's really too much fun. Hopefully it's not too confusing. So if you click on allotments, you're going to get a page like this. So over here on the right side is a Google picture, basically, that they have a superimposed CPN reservation on. The red dots are your 1887 allottees, and the blue or purple dots are your 1872. And I'm pretty sure everyone knows on their enrollment card, you have usually two ancestors. Sometimes an ancestor, you'll have the same ancestor for both your 1887 or your allottee or your 1872 allottee, and they were still alive in 1937. So you might have the same two people, but usually it's a grandparent and a parent. You'll see it somewhat like that. And the fun thing about this right here is you can see this is a modern. You can kind of see where the roads are. And if I'm sure most people are familiar with Google Maps, so those type of issues apply here. You got where you can, zoom in or zoom out, see maybe the roads. We have these 72 and 87, and then the cross. You'll see this little cross at the bottom of the map there. Those are the cemeteries, which are kind of like you see the little red deal here with the cross there. And you can click on the cemeteries. And sometimes if we don't have all the information, this is really a work in progress it's been for a few years maybe, but it is still a work in progress. And there's so many things that are just going to be more. So every time you come, if something doesn't seem to go the way you like, please come back and check or get with us, make sure it's not something, because they'll fix it. They really are doing well. So over here, search by family, we go over to the left side and you can pick whichever family. I did pick the Burnett family. That's that little cutout right there. And I believe Otis Daniels down there. And since we're hanging out with Otis today, because he's so cute and has a great tie, we're going to do here. Now, if you'll notice on the right, the map looks a little different. That's the satellite view. So you can use the satellite view if you like. But this yellow is one of his allotments on that map. And also this darker yellow or oranger color is also his allotment. So he received two, it looks like either 240s is what it looks like, which counts as 80, but I'm not sure why they, did a lot of the things they did, but that's what it is. And you can find it there. And over to the left, we'll see a picture of him if we have a picture, some bio information there, some interesting. But what's fun, and for a lot of people that I have come into my office, they like to kind of have an idea where their family allotment was and if they can go see it, and do want information about that if they can find it. That has been on a lot of people's asking questions for me. So over here where this other yellow is, there's this little you can do with your cell phone, and there's also a place to click, and you can get the directions to the allotment. So this, of course, is without the satellite on the map on the left, and I just highlighted where that highlight was something I put on there on that one, and it shows to his deal. Now, when you click on there and want to learn where it's at, you're going to get a Google map, which is the one on the right, and it really did take you to his allotment. I thought that was really neat. Now, I will be honest, it doesn't always do that just perfectly like that, but this one did. So I was really pleased to be able to show that type of new. Now, for our Veterans Memorial, we're extremely proud of, and this would be the page. If you hit the veterans, you can browse by name and also search by name here. And as you look at the page, you'll notice here's a little camera. So that means there's an image of the person. And then as you come down here to David Frank Adams, we have a camera and a video. So actually, the Tribal Heritage Project has accumulated quite a bit of video, and one of them was veterans video. And so here when you click on Frank Adams, or David Frank Adams, sorry, it says his family's a Bursaw. It does have his birthday, and then there's the pictures right there, and you can play the media, and it should work for you. Hopefully your computer can download it. They are working hard on getting the video out, the videos and interviews out to where they can be seen from this portal or the other portals. And so that's really exciting. I think you can't honor these guys enough. And some of these World War II videos are amazing. And we've lost so many of them lately. And they just have some awesome stories. It's just, it's very humbling. It's very humbling. So when you get a chance, go in there and look those up. Do I still have enough time? We're good. I guess we're okay.
You're doing great, and you've added up to 90 people that are listening to your story. So
Poor guys.
they are loving it.
This is, and I'm going to be honest, I might get you more lost than found, but if you can get to these places, this is amazing. And there's always more than one way, as they say, to skin a cat. And there is twice as many ways to get to all these places, and you just have to get in there and play around. And then if you have a problem, let us know. It is, like I said, a work in progress, and they're really doing amazing. I'm just real impressed. So then there's so we're going to go back to our CHC mark here. We have ancestors, and that will take you to hopefully what everybody recognizes as your Potawatomi portal. Now, this is more new to me, and I got in here playing this last few weeks, and I'm probably might be in some trouble if I confess, but there are so many places in here. You have to get in there and you have to check it out. And so from ancestors, it'll take you to the portal. And we've all recognized this portal. If you don't have one, I hope that you can get one. I kind of makes me sad for those that have computers or not computer illiterate or don't have the access, because these is just an amazing way to feel connected. And that's what's important about a tribe, is feeling connected. There's no doubt. So I'm going to use me because it's easier. So if you go to Ancestors and you get that portal right there, it'll take you straight to this little page right here. And from here, I want to go, because there's two ways to get to this page. So if you if you're like at CPN, not Cultural Heritage, our website, but CPN's website, and they had a really nice little article on there, and it had the place you can click right there, and you go right back to your portal, and it's portal.potawatomi.org, and you go in. So there's more than one way to go in, and it might look a little different each time, but once you get used to it, you're going to be able to really have so much fun. It's going to be a joy. So this is from your portal. And then as you come to this page, hopefully everybody recognizes this page. You have so many options. You have the education, tribal roles, and then ancestors. And when we clicked on ancestors at my CHC, that's where we are going next. But I do want to tell you, try all these out. Interviews, it's in the MAIC. I'm not sure where that is on that, but please check that every time you come in, because they're really working hard on that, and it's so interesting. And of course, what we were looking at earlier in the veterans, that will be the preview of what you're going to do here. So, and I'm also pushing for a lot of search words. We want search words out there. A lot of people, John Anderson, he may be an Anderson, but guess what? He might be a Muller. So, you're going to have, I would like for a little, we're going to get search terms. I'm going to work on that a little bit. So anyways, we're going to go into ancestors, and it's pretty complicated to a point, but it isn't. So this will be the page we'll see. And then I always, forever, please go to help. You can go to help. It'll walk you through everything. And then, it just gives you so much information so that you can use this. So family trees, they're over here and they're over here. You've got two places you can check out your family trees. The navigation bar, very important, kind of hard to see in this scan. I'm sorry, but there is like frequently asked questions, important things like that. And you can also go to your profile. Personal data, that will be back at your profile and stuff. Dashboard navigation, of course, we went through that. As this right here, they're saying this right here is my profile, my records. There is a way you can upload records. Of course, those that are in the education department and taking advantage of our scholarships, such a blessing. I have to say, it blessed me and my family greatly. That is a place so you can download records and do different things like that. But as you come down here, we get your featured person, which is they have John Anderson, and then you can click down here on 5A is his profile. 6, 7, and 7A are ways to browse the census. And you'll see there's an all button. You can go to the 1872, you can go to the 1887, and here is a nice place, the 1937. I have 1937 in places, but sometimes it's kind of like I have my book, my Bibles, I have I'll call them my older, newer testaments or whatever, but my Bibles, which I call that I use. And then, so this dashboard, and go through the help, and you'll see, of course, here you have the more numbers down here. So as I go, I'm going to go back here for a minute. So because this, and I'm just going to show this one because it's going to be I think people are going to enjoy this, the family trees. And you can go here or you can click here. Either way, you can click at both those places. So this is a busy page of family trees. So when you hit that family trees, that's right up here on the left, you're going to have a drop down. You're going to have an ancestral family tree for sure. And it may or may not be correct. So just let us know. Like I said, this is a work in progress and it's always changing. And sometimes, like I said, we listen to Aunt Susan and not Uncle John. So there's just sometimes it's just until we can get it. And I really believe it's going to be, it's pretty amazing now. So you can see over here on my ancestral tree, it has myself peeking over a line. Then you'll notice up above me, it says living female. So my living female is my mother, and because she is still alive, they do not put that information there. If you are still alive, they cannot provide that information in this, I guess, media or concept or idea. And then of course you go up to her father, it shows Frank and shows the ancestral family tree is basically not, you don't do much to it. Basically, you cannot manipulate it. You can have it manipulated if you need to. Please don't feel like it's just set in stone, because it is not. But that is what it, that's kind of our basis from what we have here in kind of a reflection of tribal roles in a sense. But they have added this create a new tree for any of those of you that would like to create your own tree. And it's kind of easy, and I think you'll find it. So you can start here and go back to your documents and find the information you want, or maybe you can kind of have it already and know some stuff. So it's pretty fun. Now I did Czar's family tree, which I'm not sure why that ended up like that, and that's of course over on the left. And I did it through create a new tree. And you can see here at the bottom, it tells you your name. And I think the next one will be better. Oh, well, I'm just going to explain, which I probably did. I apologize. Ancestral family charts based on tribal role info can be changed, cannot be changed here. And you'll notice anyone not dead, they're just going to show up as a living female. Also, you can see on your chart, it's kind of hard to see, it's blurry. So like for Sarah Tayseer, she ended up being a Nadu, but her Alati name was Tayseer. It has up here in the red little box, 1887, and then she was also on the 1937. And this does show her number, okay? And that's another thing. You'll be the only one to see on your ancestral family chart. So you have to, we do watch that, but you do have access to that. So we're going to create our family tree. Right here, says import ancestral family tree. Check this box if you want to import your ancestral family tree info. Okay. And of course you name your tree. So you may use this for your, so like my father's family, I can connect either way through trees or on the same tree, but import your ancestral family tree is an option. So, but I liked using it because it does give me a nice deal. So this is my tree that I made. So this is the one that's for me. And you'll notice, so this is my mother, Rita Orbitz, and she's still living. And I can put that information in for them because this is my tree. And then of course we can add, so like up here, when I get way up here to Elizabeth Catherine Palumdon, who was originally a Bourbonnais, she was married, actually she's married more than twice, but for my line, she was married to Anthony Tayseer, but she also was married to Palumdon and some Vassar, and I think that's it. But I could find out more, who knows? That's the fun thing, you might find out more later. But you come down here and you find myself, I come down here under my mother, and then I can add my children. So I can add my children, and I have one granddaughter, and I'm about to have another granddaughter. I'm so blessed again in May. It's like I get one every 20 years is what it's like. But when you want to add so here we got, so for my mother, there's this little plus sign up there on some of them, and you can use that to add a member. So my mother was married twice. So I can add my father and I can add my stepfather, and it'll show up just like Catherine up here. There's a little ring. It's kind of hard to see. I apologize. You just have to kind of click on everything is what I advise. And then you'll see what it says to do. But here you can put in the information and save it. And then that will create that person. Sometimes they're hidden. And like Mr. Palumdon, if I hadn't had him already clicked out, he would be hiding. So you always kind of click these little things here and there on this. And I haven't played in here that much. So, but I did notice that, like, for example, on my children, on my grandfather, my great-grandfather that was married to Sarah, you can see where there's a little X right there, and you can take those people off. Some of these people I can take off, but I noticed some of them do not have the X to delete. And I'm not sure if that is exactly because it was from the ancestral family. Those are pretty much there. So here is the board, the little line up here that we were going to use. Frequently asked questions. You know, I don't always go to those. I don't always go to help, but I really, you should. You'd just be surprised what you're going to find, right? So here under frequently asked questions, you get common questions, family tree questions, profile questions, and records questions. So it right here, like for a record, I did not go into this deeply. It says, what is a record? Where do they go? Can I upload audio? Let's find out together. So there's some options there that I can. And here, right here, email, IT, I think _developers, potawatomi.org. I cannot say enough about my contact person. And I'm just going to say it's Jonathan, because he just rocks. He really, anything I see, I'm like, is this supposed to be this way? And he always wants to know if there's not something right. He always will. Thank you for letting me know. Thank you for letting me know. You never feel like you can't bring him a problem or say something like that. And that's the kind of people you like to work with, that's for sure. Now, I just kind of did this. So on the frequently asked questions, you have the calm and the tree, which are there. And you can be bought between those. And it's like, how do I add a new family member? And why do I have to fill out? You don't really have to. So that's okay. And why do some people show up as living relative? And so explains that data needs to, that data is blocked. So anyways, that's basically just kind of a rundown on both kind of the way to use those programs to look for family history. They're very good resources. I think they're amazing. When I go back to like when I was in tribal roles, I found out I had a phone number there from, you know, where I lived before. So I went in there and got to play around in there and updated everything. It shows you if say you miss a HoneyCon and you're like, what the heck? And so you go in, you can see if you're, you know, whether you're selected or not selected in tribal roles to receive your HoneyCon, or if it got lost in the mail, and it saves you a phone call. Also, and I apologize, I was kind of home in the snow yesterday, but and I wanted to show this, but yeah, I believe it's in tribal roles. You can contact your legislators, your wonderful legislators like Bob and Jean. And it just pops up their email, and you can just tell them thank you for the day, that you enjoyed the day. And the chairman in there, their email's in there. So it was really nice. So it was really nice to be a part of this. I appreciate it. And please, you know, contact anyone and everyone when it comes to your history, not just us, because I think a lot of folks feel like we have like the all-knowing end of the history. And it's getting there. And for me, I know I don't have access, you know, I'm not tribal roles. And so what I have access is the very same things you guys have access. But they do like me, I hope. I do bother them occasionally, and vice versa. We help each other. It's wonderful to be a part of this community. It really is a blessing, and to feel connected. And I think your family history is going to make you feel connected to your tribal, to your tribe. I mean, when I found out, like Catherine Palumdan's mother, Catherine or Katish Bourbonnais, I mean, she's on a treaty. Her name is on a treaty. I mean, you know, you can't feel more connected than that. So I think hopefully everybody can partake of this and can use it and to their benefit. And I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Zarina. And Justin, but before we break, a couple of questions I see that maybe we can get an answer on.
Yeah.
Chairman, would you have any idea who was going to be in charge of the shooting competition this year? Has that been decided if we decide to have it?
I think that my son, Jack Barrett, is probably going to be in charge of that. You know, he was in that business for some time, and we were doing a remodel, by the way, out at the trap range and the sporting clays. They're remodeling the gathering area and the merchandise shop there. And we're doing some additional work on the shooting clays area out by the Grand Casino. So I would imagine if he doesn't turn it down, last time I talked to Jack, he was interested in doing that for us. And he's a certified instructor, and he's very good at it.
Okay.
So I imagine he'll be running the
How about-
shooting competition.
Chairman, how about the bow and arrow? Do we have any idea there?
Well, the bow and arrow competition, Linda normally handles. And I'm not sure who she has lined up. It's, I think it's the same guy that did it 2-3 years ago.
Okay. And the other question that I saw was, what is our current tribal membership? It's something like 37,000, is it not?
It's over 37,000. If I'm not mistaken, that makes us the 8th largest tribe in the United States, or maybe higher. I haven't checked everybody's population numbers lately, but we have grown, but for a variety of reasons. We have gained a tremendous amount of membership in the last 2 years. We gained almost 6,000 members.
Good. Anyway, before we close, I do want to sincerely thank the chairman, vice chairman, Justin and Zarina for taking the time from their, weekend off, so to speak, to be with us today. We've had a lot of information given out. Yes, this was recorded, and I'm not sure really how to pull up the recording, but I'm sure Jennifer will get back to us and let us know how to go about doing that. But I think it's been a great morning. This last 2+ hours has really been extremely informational. I've been thrilled. I saw that we were up to 62 people at one point, which I think is fantastic. I wish we'd had even more, and I look forward to more of these. Thank
Bob,
all
I
of you
had,
so very much.
I had 95 that's showing on my chat box.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, thank you,
95,
everyone.
which is kind of a record for a Zoom.
Okay. 95. Pardon me.
95, yes, I was excited about that because I've learned so much just, through the stories. And I always want to hear the stories and legends from Justin. He knows I have a lot of curiosity in that field, and the ancestry is something that everyone's interested in and affects us all. So it's just been great to have everyone here, and thank you so much, all of you. And we were fortunate enough to have our chairman and vice chairman join us today, which I didn't think we were going to get to do that, but we're honored to have you, and thank you for coming.
Well, thank you very much, Jean.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing Elmer Fudd in Potawatomi. Now Justin is going to do Dwatted Wabbit.
Absolutely.
Wabbit
I
hunting.
thought that too, Elmer Fudd. I gotta see that little, I don't know how you pulled that off. Could you give us a sample, Justin?
Yeah, Justin, some of us, I know that Eva keeps a library, and so do I. I would like one copy of each of the books for the library that I keep for the district, if you don't mind.
Same here, Justin.
Yeah. And Jennifer, thank you so much for sitting there in the background and, letting all of us take place. I know it takes a lot of time from the IT standpoint to put all of us together too, and it's deeply appreciated. You guys do a fantastic job. I mean, we work for, one of the greatest sovereign nations out there.
She is the engine that makes it all work, and we're up to 100 now. 100 online. That's awesome.
That's great.
Yes, thank you so much. Everyone have a great day. So happy to have had you there. I'm sorry we couldn't see each and every one, but this is great.
One more final thing. I see that Catherine Short is saying, is the frill design on the chairman's vest available? Chairman, I'll let you cover that about the family vests and so forth quickly.
This is a family design. You can have a family design done, or if you can go through the old records and some of the old pictures, and normally you can find a picture of something from an ancestor. And this is an adaptation of something that I saw on an ancestor, but from photographs that I think I snuck a camera into the Fields Museum in Chicago and took some pictures that I'm probably not supposed to have. But these are designs that I think I've had this vest for probably 15 years or 20. But this particular design, I also have a straight dance regalia that has this on it as well. But there is a place in our records where you can find all of the different elements that go into Potawatomi design, and you can design one for your family by lifting different pieces of them and assembling them. In fact, you can do it with use a paint program off the software on your computer.
All righty, I'm going to say Igwin to everyone for taking the time today.
Pamapi.
Blamamine.